When I started this podcast, it was during COVID, and that was because I was just, deprived of speaking to people and colleagues, and I would go to these conferences, and I have friends, and we see each other all the time, um, but and I also just love understanding how people think and operate because it's. Let me tell you, this podcast has helped me take the edge off because I am very much like that. I have two big fears in life, and it doesn't matter what aspect it is: fear of failure and fear of rejection, right? But what I have found through this podcast and taking the time to explore and sort of kind of scratch the surface is people who are seasoned lawyers, professionals, 20, 30 years in this career still have those same fears. Some of the best ones say that they feel like an imposter. They have an imposter syndrome, that at some point somebody is going to finally discover that they're a fraud.
Oh, girl, listen, when you say imposter, you're preaching to the choir. So listen, that is like, but you know what the funny thing is? It's so funny. Like I listened to I don't know if it was a podcast or there's a defense attorney in Miami. His name is David Marcus. He's got an amazing podcast that he does where he brings on criminal defense attorneys and kind of talks about their cases that they've done. And he did some type of a speaking engagement recently. And in my mind, David Marcus is like, it, and he was talking about imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait. What could you possibly know about imposter syndrome? But it's true, because I think that if everybody just at once came out and screamed out their insecurities, I mean, it would just, everybody would be like, oh man, it's not just me. But it's true, because imposter syndrome is real. It is really real. And it's subjective, it's silent. You feel like it's invisible, and then you're fighting against yourself. Not realizing that everyone around you in their own way has this manifestation, no matter what successes they've had, no matter what they've done, is feeling the same. And there have been a few moments recently where I've realized that, people, that I'm not the only one. Yeah. But there's a lot that goes into, at least for me, feeling like if I fail, it's not just about me. And, I don't think that this is unique to me. I think that if you are a minority person in a predominantly, heterosexual, white, male dominated industry or world, which I think we for the most part live in, it's not just me. It's not just me that's working there. It's not just my reputation. It's the decision to hire me. It's the decision to hire someone that looks like me. It's the people that might come after me, and it's not just within my work environment, but the people that look in, other law firms, so there's so much that goes into that, for me at least. And I don't feel necessarily like an individual. I feel like in some ways an identity, and there's always a concern about, the failure is not my own in some ways. I think I have a very deep concern about giving I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think look, what you're saying, and I really can empathize and understand, is that there is not only this pressure to perform, there is this pressure to want to make sure that you fit in, that you're accepted, that is authentic, that is real, that your efforts and what you put in are reciprocated, and we internalize all of this day in and day out, and we get tangled up in our heads, and it's, like you said, you can't really control sort of what's going on, and we know what the social conditioning looks like, and it's there, and you're carrying, and I'm carrying just, decades and centuries of poor treatment to the gender, to the race. And it's like we're sort of on the cusp of this. It's only been like less than 100 years that women can be in these positions of power in the history of humanity. And when you think about that and you think you're in the cusp of this change, and there's just so much between the past and we can't predict the future, and we don't know if these changes are happening from a good place, or you're questioning everything, and that can drive anybody crazy. And I think as a woman, it's there is that layer of complication, or not complication, but a layer of just wanting to understand that first you're human and you're being seen as a human, and then you're a woman that has different responsibilities from what a man would.